Today, Peter, head of customer experience and success, is talking about Dash0's simple, transparent pricing you can trust.
Gigabytes of data, number of user accounts, amount of data queries, enabled features, data retention. The list of typical cost drivers of observability solutions goes on and on and on. It's no surprise that this unpredictable and confusing mix can quickly turn your observability bill into a total nightmare. So why do we still accept that? Why should understanding your observability costs be almost as complicated as managing your services and infrastructure? Dash0 fixes this for you. We've spent a lot of time exploring various pricing options to find the right one for Dash0. And one thing is clear, pricing is a major pain point for many. In countless conversations with our design customers, we kept hearing the same frustrations over and over again. Intransparent pricing makes it hard to plan and even harder to scale. Users are forced to make painful trade-offs to fit their observability budgets. Before I talk about Dash0's pricing model in detail, I want to share our thoughts on its design and give some examples why we think many of the existing approaches in the market are unacceptable. Let's start with one of the simplest pricing models, host-based pricing. At first glance, charging based on the number of hosts or agents seems simple and straightforward, but it's impossible to make this a fair pricing model. Does every host generate the same amount of telemetry? Of course not. Some companies try to account for this by factoring the size of hosts using metrics like CPU or memory into the pricing, but that adds unnecessary complexity without addressing the core issues. A host and the amount of its resources does not reflect the telemetry data it emits. Even worse, teams might be influenced to limit or alter their infrastructure choices to keep costs down by reducing the number of hosts, for example. We at Dash0 want to provide you with a better alternative to host-based pricing. To address the shortcomings of host-based pricing, many platforms charge on the volume of ingested data, often measured in gigabytes. At first glance, this seems like a step in the right direction. After all, it's truly usage-based. However, it only appears to be transparent. Think about this. How many gigabytes are your log records? How would you calculate this? Is this the raw data, maybe accounting for HTTP overhead? Or is it compressed data, like in gRPC traffic, which is significantly less? And probably most important, is your provider calculating it the same way you do? Should you even have to worry about these details? Probably not. And there's another issue with volume-based pricing. Adding valuable metadata to your telemetry can significantly increase your data traffic and, in turn, your costs. Suddenly, you are paying a lot more because you want richer, more useful telemetry. Context is crucial for understanding and troubleshooting your systems. And we believe users should be encouraged to use high-quality, richly labeled data. These are just some examples. There are more. All of these pricing models, whether charging by number of hosts, data volume, amount of queries, data cardinality, users, or feature bundles, lead to the same problems: unpredictability, complexity, and frustration. They make it hard for teams to plan, force them into unnecessary compromises, and often result in surprise charges that don't directly correlate with the delivered value. I've spent quite some time sharing our thought process, but we think pricing is a problem in today's observability world that needed fixing. After considering so many options that did not work for us, let's look at how we at Dash0 have solved pricing. We have built something new, by simplifying the pricing model to the extreme. It can be explained in 1 minute, is encouraging the use of Dash0 with high cardinality and metadata-rich telemetry, allows maximum transparency, and is fair. Our pricing is simply based on the number of signals you send, offering full transparency with no hidden fees or surprises. 1 million spans or span events are 60 cents with 1 month retention. Log records have the same price and retention, 60 cents per 1 million log records and 1 month retention. 1 million metric data points are 20 cents with 30 months retention, allowing you to compare data from yearly events like Black Friday, Christmas, and events like this. And the pricing for metric data is regardless of cardinality. This model is designed to be as simple, transparent, and fair as possible. There are no hidden cost drivers or penalties for successfully implementing and rolling out your observability solution. With this pricing, you and your team can enjoy using Dash0, including all features, without worrying about unexpected costs. There was a lot of information about how we eventually developed our pricing model. Sometimes building the most straightforward things is the hardest. You probably agree that this is a simple and fair pricing model, but what about the transparency that I've mentioned quite often? Let's look at the pricing model in action using Dash0. Whenever you send telemetry data, Dash0 automatically generates metrics from it. Of course, without additional fees, but by now you have probably expected that. These metrics can be filtered and aggregated in various ways. Let's look at data from the OpenTelemetry demo application that is accessible for all users of Dash0 within their environments for free. With a single PromQL query, all spans sent in the last 24 hours are counted and grouped easily. In this example, they are aggregated by service name. As Dash0's pricing model is based on million events, calculating the related cost is very easy. Just add a simple operation to your PromQL query. You can see how much costs your spans have generated in the last 24 hours grouped by your service names immediately. To forecast the cost for the entire month, you can just multiply these costs by 30. Of course, this is just a very basic example showing the power of that approach, and you can easily adjust these calculations to fit your needs. And you can follow the same approach for logs and metric data points. Converting the PromQL query into a proactive alert is as easy. Just copy the query into a check rule and specify budget thresholds. You will automatically be notified when any service runs out of budget with just a single query. This is just one example of how attribution in Dash0 works. You want to know how much observability budget is consumed by what team? Or how expensive a certain kind of log record is? Or if observability costs for a certain service are higher than the value it provides. You get all these answers very easily by following the same approach. The options are countless. This is what transparency looks like. With these valuable insights into our pricing approach, we invite you to sign up for a free 14-day trial. Use Dash0 with your data and get full pricing transparency immediately. Start your Dash0 journey now.
Because details matter.